Trauma. Now let's talk about trauma. Trauma is not necessarily the thing that happens to you. It's your psychological response to the thing that happens to you. All right? And thank God, right? Thank God, because you can heal your response to trauma, but you cannot heal something that happened, like a physical event that happened 50 years ago, 20 years ago. You can't. If you were in a car accident 20 years ago, you can't go back and undo that. But you can go back, figuratively, and undo your response to it. And that's what therapists do. Therapists find out where the trauma is, what the trauma is about, and helps you to unwind it. In the same way a doctor looks at your wound and begins to look at it, he fixes it and tells you how to heal it, the same thing the therapist does, but it's a psychological wound. All right? Trauma can be the thing that happened to you and your response to it. And it can also be what should have happened but didn't. You were supposed to get love, you didn't. That's trauma. You were supposed to have an attachment to a caregiver, you didn't get it. That's trauma. All right? You were supposed to have approval from your parents, from your caregivers, you didn't get it. That's trauma. And it'll show up in the addiction. So what do we understand from that? We understand the problem is not the drugs, it's not the alcohol, it's not the deck of cards. That's not the problem. The problem is the psychological condition of the person. Are they predisposed to it or not because of their conditions or their life experiences? Now let's talk a little bit about healing. Healing. Healing, to heal means to become whole again. What do we need to do to help people become whole again? Another way of describing addiction is disconnection from the self. Disconnection from the self. You're actually disconnected from who you really are. And you're caught up in behaviors. You're caught up in behaviors, but that's not who you really are. Those are just dysfunctional coping mechanisms. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to help the person to come back to who they really are, connect to their essence, but there's something that you're going to need to be able to do it. You're going to need a lot of rahmah. You're going to need mercy. You're going to need a lot of it. Mercy. This is the tool. Okay?